Once again, we were offered up two dark films to review. Last week, we took the road less traveled, mainly to avoid sad Russell Crowe. We chose poorly. This week, we took the road more traveled, instead of a joyful outing with the delightfully mad Joaquin Phoenix. Mad Joaquin Phoenix. We were again not rewarded. The Deadites return after several scrapped film ideas, including direct sequels to Army of Darkness and 2013's Evil Dead, and a short-lived series, Ash vs. the Evil Dead. Warner Brothers and New Line, in association with Sam Raimi, Bruce Campbell, and Robert Tappert, bring us The Evil Dead Rise, a semi-standalone reboot written and directed by Lee Cronin. Starring Lily Sullivan as Beth and Alyssa Sutherland as Ellie, Ellie is a single mom living in a rundown apartment raising her three kids, Danny, Bridget, and Cassie. Beth, her sister, is a rock groupie who has recently gotten pregnant. Danny discovers a book buried beneath the apartment complex after a recent earthquake, alongside mysterious records, which Danny plays, revealing the book to be the Book of the Dead. Texts from the book are recited from the records, unleashing hell upon the apartment complex. The main plot and setup are all more or less Evil Dead. From the demonic beings never referred to as Deadites in this film, though still designed in the same vein as prior movies, to the Necronomicon, also never referred to as such, with a much more generic design, the movie has the bones of what is Evil Dead, but much like avoiding direct references to past franchise mainstays, there's no meat on the Evil Dead Rises bones. The movie has a handful of Easter eggs from the other films and, of course, a boomstick and chainsaw. But outside of the generic setup of some dumb schmuck coming across the Necronomicon and accidentally raising evil by reading from its pages, there's not much else in the film other than the over-the-top gore that makes it feel like Sam Raimi's Evil Dead franchise. Sure, Federico Alvarez's Evil Dead from 2013 also played with the tone and style, toning down some of the more outlandish camp for something a bit more serious, but it also delivered much better stylized and choreographed kills and gore. Evil Dead Rise feels like a milquetoast edition in the vein of 2013's reboot, but with none of the humor of the original nor creativity of the reboot. There's plenty of violence and blood, but as in the case with many recent films, the characters are mostly unlikable or so shallow there's nothing to relate to. Audiences aren't given anything to care about when deaths begin, and while in some cases this can be good when people die in such brutal fashion, you still need at least one person to root for, one person you want to see persevere. And that character in this film received little emotional depth until the film's end, coming way too late. Likewise, the kills aren't creative or fun, just gore. Sure, the Evil Dead franchise is no stranger to viscera, but usually it comes with some level of camp or wit to offset the gore. This is just a mediocre plot with people turning into pulp. A brief lesson about family and motherhood is a running theme, but again with such a weak plot and characters it falls flat. Ultimately, The Evil Dead Rise has none of the charm that its predecessors do. Those just looking for the generic setup of a book bringing forth Deadites to kill and maim will be satisfied, and the film has been well received by critics and general audiences. I, on the other hand, say if you're a fan of Raimi and Bruce Campbell's work, don't bother. Check out Joaquin Phoenix instead. Joyfully mad Joaquin Phoenix. I give Evil Dead Rise 2 out of 4 stars.